Rain fell hard against the empty streets that night, blurring the lights of the city and masking the quiet sobs of a woman who had nowhere left to go. Her name was Clara Bennett, a young nurse who had once devoted her life to saving others until life itself seemed to turn against her. One mistake, one accusation she couldn't fight, and she lost her job, her apartment, and nearly her will to keep going. She sat on the cold sidewalk near a closed cafe, clutching her soaked jacket tightly around herself, whispering through trembling lips, "Just one night. I just need one night somewhere warm." That was when a car stopped. Not a random stranger, not someone pitying her out of obligation, but a man whose eyes carried the same loneliness she felt. Ethan Hale, a single dad and the CEO of one of the city's biggest tech companies, watched her through the rain-covered window. He didn't know her, yet something about her quiet dignity, the way she didn't beg, didn't plead, pulled at something deep inside him. He stepped out, the rain soaking through his tailored coat. "Are you all right?" he asked gently. Clara looked up, embarrassed, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. "I'm fine. Just waiting for the rain to stop." He glanced around the deserted street. "There's no bus coming tonight. You'll freeze out here." She gave a faint, hopeless smile. "I've been through worse." Ethan hesitated. He knew better than to get involved. As a CEO, as a father, and as a man whose own past mistakes had cost him more than money, he had learned to keep his distance. But something inside him refused to walk away this time. He took a quiet breath, then said softly, "Come home with me." Clara blinked, stunned. "What?" "Just for tonight," he said. "You can have a warm meal and a place to rest. I promise it's safe. My son's at home. You'll be fine." And that single decision, born out of kindness and instinct, would change both their lives forever. Clara followed Ethan to a quiet suburban house, where laughter had once lived but now only silence filled the halls. Ethan's 6-year-old son, Oliver, peeked from behind the couch when they entered, clutching a stuffed bear. His wide eyes studied Clara suspiciously, then darted to his father for assurance. "She's a friend," Ethan said softly, ruffling his son's hair. "She'll stay with us for a bit." Oliver nodded shyly but didn't speak. Clara smiled, her heart aching. She had seen children like him before, gentle souls carrying heavy silences. Ethan showed her to the guest room. It wasn't much, but to Clara, it felt like heaven. A clean bed, a lamp, warmth. She almost cried when he handed her a towel and said, "There's soup on the stove if you're hungry." That night, while she lay under the soft blanket, Clara stared at the ceiling, tears quietly falling. It had been months since someone had treated her like a person instead of a problem. She didn't know who this man really was or why he cared, but for the first time in a long time, she prayed for tomorrow to come by. In the morning, she woke up early and found the kitchen already buzzing with the smell of pancakes. Ethan was making breakfast, and Oliver sat at the counter, still in his pajamas, scribbling something on a notepad. Clara smiled nervously. "I can help," she offered. Ethan looked up, surprised. "You don't have to." "I want to," she said simply. Over the next few days, Clara stayed on, promising to leave once she found a job. She cooked, cleaned, helped Oliver with his schoolwork. Slowly, warmth began to return to the quiet house. Ethan noticed it, the sound of laughter, the smell of homemade food, Oliver smiling more. Clara wasn't just helping them, she was healing something broken inside them both. But every evening, when the lights dimmed and Oliver went to bed, Ethan saw the sadness in Clara's eyes, the kind of pain that doesn't fade easily. He wanted to ask, but he didn't push. Until one night, he found her sitting in the living room, staring at a folded paper in her hands. "What's that?" he asked gently. She hesitated, then handed it to him. It was a dismissal letter from the hospital where she'd worked. "They said I gave the wrong medication," she whispered. "But it wasn't me. The doctor mixed up the files, but he blamed me to save his license. I tried to fight it, but no one believed me. I lost everything." Ethan's jaw tightened. "You were trying to save someone, weren't you?" Clara nodded, tears rolling down her face. "And I failed." He looked at her for a long moment before saying quietly, "You didn't fail. You were failed." That night, something shifted. Ethan saw her not as a broken woman, but as someone stronger than most, someone who had fallen yet still chose kindness. And Clara saw Ethan not as a rich man, but as someone who carried his own scars. Days turned into weeks. Clara found small nursing work at a community clinic. Ethan encouraged her, helped her rebuild confidence, and she, in turn, helped him remember how to live, not just work. Oliver adored her. Soon, laughter returned to their mornings, and peace to their nights, but happiness doesn't come without tests. One evening, a news report aired naming Ethan's company in a corporate fraud investigation. The story exploded online, false accusations from a rival company trying to destroy him. Investors pulled out. The board panicked. The empire he had built began to crumble. Ethan sat alone in his office that night, head in his hands. Clara walked in quietly, holding 2 cups of coffee. "You once told me I didn't fail," she said softly. "Now it's my turn to say the same to you." He looked up at her, exhausted. "Clara, I'm losing everything." She smiled faintly. "Then let's rebuild. Together." And she meant it. For weeks, she stood by him, helping with legal paperwork, keeping Oliver's life stable, being the strength he didn't know he needed. When the truth finally came out that the rival firm had fabricated evidence, Ethan was cleared. His company's reputation was restored. But more than that, something beautiful had grown between them: trust, love, and the kind of partnership that doesn't fade with hardship. Months later, on a quiet evening, Ethan stood in the backyard watching Clara play with Oliver under the sunset. She turned to look at him, laughing softly. He walked over, heart full, and said the words that had lived inside him for months. "Clara," he said, taking her hand, "that night when I asked you to come home with me, I didn't know you'd become my home." Her eyes filled with tears. "And you gave me one when I had nowhere to go." As the sun dipped below the horizon, the man who had once lost faith in people and the woman who had once lost everything found what neither expected: love that healed, not hurt. And their story, born out of one simple act of kindness, became a reminder that sometimes the greatest miracles begin with 3 words: "Come home with me."